I can't remember a day not going to the races on a season. My grandfather was Ed Yerrington, so he was always had the hair slicked back and always on the infield with the pace car, and he always drove that.
My grandfather Yerrington ran a Phillips 66 gas station in Old Mystic. That's not there anymore. And then my father opened one on Route 12 in Preston as well. I think he started with the number 19 at Waterford back in probably 55, 56. And when he got the garage with the Phillips 66, they sponsored his race cars. Our cars were always red, white, and gray, and we all had matching uniforms and jackets, and it was quite an adventure growing up. Quite a few memories of the Speedbowl. I think he only won like 4 races there, never became track champion. The first year racing at Stafford, he became track champion there. He raced for Freddie Doolittle in the beginning of the year, in the 23, and then finished the year in the 66 on his own. Shortly after that, he became general manager and then went on to be vice president. At that time, the Modifieds were a weekly group running at Stafford, and there was some kind of brouhaha with the Modifieds, and the SK division was started. He had great success with that, as well as the other divisions that ran there. Then he went on for 3 years with the Roots to promote Waterford. And he was the first one to ever have an enduro. There was over 100 cars on the track at one time. And it was just utter chaos. I have no idea who won, who didn't win. It was like a demolition derby in circles. It was something I had never seen.
When we first met, and your father took me in the pace car to go around the track and stuff. Green flag came out, so we're supposed to go into the infield now. He stays out there and he's racing with the race cars and stuff now. And then we came in and stuff. Got that. Ooh.
Oh, he was a hard man. I don't think that he was a popular promoter because he pretty much would throw his own son as well as anybody else off the track if they didn't behave themselves. He was into keeping the show running at all costs.
My grandfather always called me Hemorrhoid, and I always called him Hemorrhoid. So my grandmother got me on the radio one time and asked me to say what I called my grandfather. And I called him a hemorrhoid over the intercom at Stafford Motor Speedway when the stands were full. And you should have seen how embarrassed he was, and he was about crawling underneath the pace car trying to hide from everybody laughing at him.
Eddie was trying to follow my father in his footsteps. Never really got outside of Waterford for racing, whereas my father traveled up and down the East Coast doing it in the Modifieds.
My racing started when I was 15. I was pumping gas at a gas station with my father when he was working at a garage. Greg Moran Sr. had his old street stock he was selling. I think I paid him $50 a week until it was paid off. I brought my car to my dad's house. We had no garage. I started building it outside. It took me all winter to get it ready. I think I missed the first couple races and I got it together and it was okay. It was a big Monte Carlo. I destroyed it in practice by myself trying to learn. I ran street stocks for 2 years, maybe 3. I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. So I didn't get back into Super X until 2006. My first win was 2008 when I won my first race from Porter getting DQ'd. That was awesome, but I would have rather have won on the track. So I came back a couple weeks later and won on the track. Car got wrecked and in a week, Alan Coates there helped me put a new clip on the car at his house in Ledyard, and he was a huge help to me getting faster and getting better. He always encouraged me to try stuff and figure out what did what and keep going. And then 2009, I just started hammering out wins. won a race. Tech that week was for rear springs. The rear springs had to be within a half an inch of each other left to right. One of my rear springs was 3/4 of an inch different from left to right. So therefore I got DQ'd. Don Rand DQ'd me. So we come back the next week with 2 brand new swings in the car, and it was still just as fast, and we won. So we go to Victory Lane, and the plan was to moon the camera and give Don Rand a picture and tell him anytime he felt like kissing my ass, he could. And I think I finished 3rd in points that year. So that was what took me out of the championship that year, was the 2 DQs. And then we came back in 2010 and just racked them right up.
Those were really fun times. Don't know what exactly it was, but Charles had that car just hooked up perfect to him.
In the first 3 races I ran, there wasn't a scratch on the car, and we raced 25, 30 cars every week.
And the car never broke, believe it or not. Those years, the car just never seemed to break. Some of the best times in racing was 2010, by far.
So it was pretty cool to win a championship and be the 3rd generation in New England for my family. My grandfather was the 1970s champion at Stafford. My uncle was the street stock champion at Waterford in 1979. And I won the 2010 championship in the Super X's.
The back, but Beal's all over his rear bumper. Break down in car number 99 doing a good job.
Look at Charlie Beal throwing it in.
Fully touching fire on the outside. It's almost paper clipped together. It's the 36.
Oh, look at Charlie Beal, dude. Jeez. Running.
This is the moment this driver will never forget. He won on Wednesday, but to win on Sunday, on Budweiser Blast-Off Weekend, is a moment you will remember for the rest of your life. The real deal, Charles Beal. Well, Charles, it was obvious yesterday that you really upgraded your game this year. What did you do in the winter to make this car such a bullet? I went and seen Al Stone and Joe Brown. This one really goes to them. It should probably even go to me. They did all the work. I just was the wheel man.
Saturday mornings consist of me showing up early. That's when I get to work on my stuff. All week I spend trying to get the kids' cars ready.
Usually he wants us all here at least by 9. And every Saturday morning, we all meet here at 9 a.m.
Saturday morning, I'm usually the last one to show up out of everybody.
We have a rule of thumb here. The last one shows up has to bring the donuts.
So I end up having to buy donuts because it's the last person here buys donuts.
Every week, Jason's getting donuts.
Jaysin, always the last one to show up, so he has to bring donuts enough to feed everybody else.
We're clutching. First thing Saturday morning, we kind of prep the cars, get them ready to go. Finish whatever little bit we got to do on them.
It's hectic Saturday mornings. It's usually when Charles is a little bit tense for the day.
Race day is definitely hectic. My wife's running around getting the drinks ready, making sure we have waters and coolers. And she's got one of the guys who usually run and get the pizzas or grinders, whatever we're having that week.
Getting food ready for everybody and just kind of making sure everybody's gear is all together. Well, they all do their thing.
And my wife's usually trying to figure out what vehicle she's towing with. So usually it's the flatbed. She has the flatbed. Then we got to get my dad here. We got to get one of the cars in his trailer, one of the cars in my trailer. Then my Jays takes one of the cars. So on an average, it's usually 4 to 5 cars a week we get going now.
We load up the cars 2 hours before the pit gates open, normally.
We usually try to get there so we're early. I like to be first in line.
We usually are at the track an hour and a half early. Stand in the line, first one's in line.
He usually is second in line, an hour and a half before the pit gates open. And I sit in the truck until a half hour before the pit gates open. So he definitely scrambles to get there as fast as we can. soon as we get in the pits, he goes and gets tires right off the rip.
I go get the tires. Me and Piper go get tires for the cars for the week. Laura and Jaysin and Hailey and Nick all unload the cars.
By that time he comes back, all the cars are loaded.
Bob and Brandon all get the cars unloaded and get everything set up. Sometimes we have to back 3 cars in one pit stall and get it all lined up and the tent's all set up. You know, Laura's getting the air pressure set and all the tire sizes ready to go for practice.
He's very serious.
Really?
Yeah, you don't step on his toes, don't do something wrong, like, you gotta know the routine.
He has millions different things running through his head, and sometimes it's honestly hard to even find him at the racetrack.
It's just usually hectic, but we all get it together and get it done.
Before every race, helmets are checked, gear is checked, everybody's strapped in, everybody's nice and tight. Every year we go through all the safety gear. Anything that's even slightly questionable gets replaced. That's the main thing, is the safety gear.
I know who built the cars. I know how safe they are. I know that Charles would never put his kids in a car that wasn't safe.
There's so many cars that there's always something that has to be done, something that has to get worked on.
Depending on what car he's driving, if he's driving the truck, he's usually a little stressed out. If he's driving the street stock, he's usually way more stressed out. But if he's driving the Mini, he's like chillest person on earth.
How you doing, sir?
Good, and you, buddy?
Living the dream.
Yes, we're at the races. What else can it be better? So I always have issues with Hailey's mini stock. You know, it's the fastest car in practice all the time. Hands down, fastest car. It can win the heat race every time. It's fast in the heat races. Something happens when we get to the features. It doesn't like to run. It overheats, or it has an injector problem.
We got the car all painted. It was like a week before. Went out there, did practice. Car wasn't running right like usual. And then we got best looking mini stock. And then I did the first race. I think I only did like 5 laps or something. Car shut off or whatnot. And then the week after, found out I was pregnant.
Hailey's not running the mini stock because she's pregnant.
Guy in the car is the one you gotta look for trouble.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
What about the night that he won the mini stock?
Yeah, so our plan was not racing that night. And he called me at like 4:30 and said, well, we talked about it that morning. He's like, I'm not sure yet, but probably not. I might not. I'm not sure.
Last minute, I decided we were going to bring the car to the track at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We missed practice. We didn't bring any tools with us. We didn't bring a tire pressure gauge. Nothing. Not even anything. I brought my fire suit in the flatbed. I brought my helmet and gloves, and that's all we brought. I unloaded the car, went out for practice, went out for the heat race, and we won the heat race. So I think we started 3rd in the feature, and we just walked away with the feature right away.
Yeah, we tried a little something different with this car. It usually likes to win practice and win the heat races and not run for the feature. So we didn't run practice today. We won the heat and we won the feature, but the king just got introduced to the real deal when this thing stays together.
There's a lot of emotions, but I was super happy for him. But then everybody keeps coming up to me, well, now you gotta do it. Now you gotta do it. So I feel like there's that pressure on me. But I'm always happy to see Dad win a race. I see how happy he is to win a race.
Winning in 3 different divisions is something to be said for. I may not win all the time. I may not be the most winningest driver, but I definitely can be consistent and run up front with the best. With all the kids, it's very tough to not yell at them. The rivalry between father-daughter and father and son, they're not going to let me beat them. And I'm not going to let them beat me. So it steps their game up without yelling at them or pushing them to lose interest.
Are they competitive with each other?
God, yes. And we can't even put them in the same divisions together because it's just going to be a show nightmare.
We always argue about who has the best looking car, who has the best looking numbers.
Who does have the best looking car?
I do. 100% me.
I guess we're all competitive, but we definitely check lap times on Saturdays to see who's fastest.
Until this year with Jay's car, Hailey was always faster. Her car was always the faster car of the two. So Hailey would always have one up on Jaysin.
Are you guys competitive with each other?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Me and Jaysin compare lap times.
We always try comparing each other's lap times, even though they're very different from each other.
They're comparing lap times to who's faster in what car. And
I don't want to imagine the conversations at home if they were all in the same division.
that's by design. That's so that there's no, they can't get mad at each other for taking each other out and stuff like that. I drive the truck. Jaysin's primarily a street stocks. Hailey is mini stocks, and Pipper is the Super X's.
She's getting it. She gets nervous. She's worried about wrecking because she hasn't had that super hard hit yet. She's had a few bumps, but she's getting there.
With the Super X, she's a handful. She's a little more stubborn than Hailey and Jaysin, so she brings out the frustration a lot more. But when she gives it her all, she's impressive.
I had a senior project for high school. It's called Capstone. It's basically where you have to write a paper about something, and I chose HHT, and you have to have an action on it. And so I decided to host a race at the new London Waterford Speedbowl.
Tonight she is racing for a cure for HHT in the CIC Automotive Collision and Sales. Jaysin Fabrication sponsor number 30. Please welcome Charlie Beal from Waterford, Connecticut, and Harper. Would you like to say something about your charity as you have tonight?
Well, on tonight, it's a big race for me. It's big for everything, and unfortunately, me and my sister and my mom have this rare blood disorder called HHT. HHT is a rare genetic blood disorder, or blood vessel disorder, called hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasia. It's when your capillaries and your blood vessels are missing or disformed. Causes a lot of internal and external bleeding. I definitely do deal with it daily. I can get random bloody noses at times. Instead of a normal bloody nose being 4 to 5 minutes, I can get them to 4 to 5 minutes to 5 to 6 hours. There's no cure for it, so I was hoping tonight that we can raise money to help find a cure.
She's going to race tonight for a cure. Let's welcome again the 30-hour Piper Beal.
We raised $5,000 and HHT doubled it. So we ended up raising $10,000 to help find a cure towards HHT. It was really nice of the racing community. It's kind of just like a big family, really. They all helped me out. They all offered to helped with the booth, helped with my car when it broke down. They all came up after the race and congratulated me. Mark Schaefer, the one who won, gave me the trophy for the night and signed it.
I gotta thank Piper. She's getting this trophy tonight. I'm not bringing it home.
I can't wait to start behind the 12 today. Not even a fighting stand.
We were running Jay's car, the primary car this year, and we were struggling with it. It just wouldn't go. Everything we would put at it wouldn't go. So Jay was getting frustrated.
He was starting to get a little down on himself, and we all knew he could do it. It was just a matter of time.
We were at the track one night, and Bo was there, and I saw my dad and Bo talking, and I walked over in the middle of the conversation, and my dad made a plan with Bo for me to drive the 12 car.
So I know Bo was getting frustrated with what he was doing, so I approached Bo about maybe hooking Jaysin and Bo up together and see if the combination would click.
started finding out about Jaysin getting in the 12, and I thought it was a really good idea.
I usually stand away from everybody. I know to stay away from everybody because I don't want to hear anybody's comments or anything. So I stand in turn 2 and stand away from everybody, all by myself. So usually that's good. But this time I had the car, so I decided to go out in the car and do a start part. So I got to watch it all from the infield, all by myself.
We're pretty checked out, and I remember looking in the mirror and seeing Al pretty, not far behind, but not right there either.
Feature time came, and just looking at race monitor, you could just tell he was going to win. He was 3/10, 4/10 faster than the whole field.
You know, watching him race was great. He was smooth.
And I remember coming to the white flag and watching 2 cars spin out on the front stretch. I was definitely praying for no caution. I didn't really want that, but it happens.
I was just pacing back and forth.
There was Stone on my outside and Ed Yerrington behind me. And I got sideways off the restart and into Al. And then I drove into one and overdrove entry and got sideways in front of the whole field. But I was like, I just put my foot back in it, hoping I could just pull back away again, and it ended up working out for us. So.
And I remember just sitting there with my head against the railing, just freaking out, hoping he does not spin.
It was great. It was cool. I could see my dad in the infield running back up to the front stretch.
I cried. I did. I cried a little bit, and then I was trying to quickly wipe my tears because I'm trying to run to victory lane and get there in time.
I remember when he finally crossed that checkered flag, I just booked it, and I didn't even see if he actually made it or not. I just started booking it, and I literally knocked down a few people trying to get there.
He won. I couldn't believe it. Wish it was in one of our cars, but he won.
Charlie Beal, man. Jason's really was going out of car as well. BMW King on the side of that machine. BMW King gets a handshake from outside the hood. There he is. Good up.
I remember Bo and Brian climbing the pit gate, which was cool.
You know, I can't thank Bo enough. I really didn't get enough. He gave me a job of this thing, and it's a rocket ship for sure.
Al and Bo and Jay all clicked really good with the setup and what Jay wanted to change, and it was a good setup. They worked good together, and Jay respected Bo, and the proof shows he did real good with the car.
I was super happy for Jay because he's never won a race, and he's the oldest, so he's supposed to win before us, but at the same time I was a little jealous because I can't race this year, so right. I missed my shot to beat him.
I gotta thank Owen. You made this happen with Bo. This is what they're kind of their thing.
It was nice to be a generational thing. I mean, that's 4 generations that have won at that track. I don't know that there's any other family that has that.
The first 4 generations to win at the Speedbowl. It's nice that it's full circle because it was a time where Jaysin was the little one in my hand working on the race car. You know, he'd sit in the seat and hold the steering wheel while I'm making the body and hanging the bodies on the car, to the point where we had to put him to sleep with the steering wheel because he wouldn't leave the steering wheel in the car. He had to take it with him. And now in the mornings, every morning, my grandson's here at the shop.
You know how to hold it. So now I like playing inside the
5th generation getting ready.
Yeah, eventually.
His routine first thing in the morning is to jump in the race cars and pull him out with Grampy. then get in his dad's race car and pull him out with him. So the next generation's in the training and trying to get him going and have fun.
He hears a race car fire up when we're pulling him out in the morning, or at night he wants to get in and drive with him. So hopefully, if he wants to, that's going to be the next thing, is letting him run.
Ooh. What'd you do? What'd you do? Did you get it?
That's 12.
You were 12?
12, 2011.
CIC Automotive is family owned, family run. It is the finish line for all your automotive needs. On a daily basis, you'll find me here, my wife, Jaysin. My daughter Pipper comes in after school, and Hailey's here in and out all day delivering parts. So it's family run, family operated, and it's 100% family.
Very proud of him. I mean, he's
Absolutely.
very family. And
Yeah.
he doesn't yell at the kids or anything.
No.
Just go out there and have a good time.
He always gives me a hug at the end of the day and says that he's proud of me. It's definitely a lot of fun with him at the racetrack.
I'm usually there before they go out on the track, and he'll lean in and tell them, just, certain little things.
Have some fun, alright? I love you.
Love you too.
And when they come back, there's no yelling and screaming and stuff.
No.
And like you say, he's got a heart of gold.
I'm the one that yells and screams. I get mad. I yell, throw him out, get him the hell out of here. It's more of a family get-together every weekend than it is racing. It's just the fuel that feeds the fire and the passion. Charles was raised by him and I. We were together probably, 5-6 years before we broke up.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult in this day and age to keep a family together, especially when you're not married and there's children involved. And I think racing has held this family together.
The best part of it all is the family aspect of it. You can't take and buy the family time that we spend together every weekend. Having all my kids there at the track every Saturday morning we're together, every Friday night we're together. To keep the tradition going is incredible. And I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that these kids can continue to race and to get to where they want to be in racing and keep the family alive and together.
Generation upon generation, it seems like it's more so a DNA thing with all of them. As long as they want to keep racing, mom, wife is always going to be there, doing tires, making sure their safety gear's strapped, and we now have Jackson, and pretty soon we'll have Cash, the 2 grandbabies, and I have no doubt they're both going to be in a car. It's just a matter of time.
Hi. Hey, I'm a happy boy.
Family time is the most important thing to me of it all. Whatever we do, you'll walk by the pits, you'll see us all playing hacky sack at the track. You'll see us all goofing around as a family. And the family time is what means the most to me about what we're doing.